Yes, guys, what's going on? So, today I'm gonna do a bunch of videos, but anyway, right, I'm gonna start with this one, right? Bob Arum recently made a statement saying that Chris Algieri whoops Danny Garcia, in his opinion. Now, as you guys know, Bob Arum is getting old. It's true, he is an older person, and I think you have to take this stuff into consideration, that sometimes Bob Arum comes out with some whack stuff. Is this one of those whack statements, though? That's the thing. Now, you see, Chris Algieri and Danny Garcia, the thing is that this is like, Bob Arum's making a statement about, he's making a statement saying, look, we've got Chris Algieri here, you've got Danny Garcia here, okay? And it's like two sides to a coin, you know? You got Top Rank, you got Golden Boy, you got Top Rank, you've got Al Heyman. And, you know, it's like the flip side, and, you know, it's like Pacquiao's over here, Mayweather's over here, and it's just, what Bob Arum is trying to do is trying to get a 140 fighter of his, and he's just comparing it to, you know, the 140 fighter on the other side. And, you know, it got me thinking, Chris Algieri, I mean, yeah, he's facing Pacquiao, he's busy at the moment, but where does this guy stand in the near future? And I mean, if he went up against someone in 140 like Danny Swift Garcia or Matisse or Bronner, I mean, we got to think, right? How would he do against these fighters? I mean, how good is this guy? I mean, Chris Algieri, is he the next big thing after Pacquiao? Win or lose, could he be that guy? You never know. This guy could be something special. But I mean, he did get dropped on the floor by Ruslan Provodnikov several times. If he was that good, he wouldn't have got dropped on the floor by Ruslan Provodnikov several times, you know? But here's the thing now. I mean, if someone like Chris Algieri was to face Danny Swift Garcia, I mean, this fight is a very possible matchup. I mean, say Chris Algieri beats Pacquiao. I mean, why is Bob Arum talking about this? I mean, Bob Arum's also, and people aren't really looked into this, but Bob Arum has also spoken about the potential fight between Manny Pacquiao and Danny Swift Garcia. That's been talked about, right? But the fight that hasn't been talked about that much, which Bob Arum's brought up now, is Chris Algieri versus Danny Garcia. And you see a little trendy, you think, are they trying to make this fight? And you hear Freddie Roach talking about Pacquiao and Garcia. So do you kind of see what I'm saying? Is Danny Garcia gonna get offered a fight? You know, the winner of Pacquiao and Algieri, will Bob Arum offer that fight to Al Heyman and Danny Garcia? You see, my issue is right here straight away. Obviously, the issue is would Al Heyman take that fight? Because we know that Al Heyman, he's got a lot of stuff going on in the background. Is it good? Is it bad? We really don't know. You know, it's currently, you have to assume it's bad because we're not getting the fights we want to see. Okay, but is that Al Heyman's fault? Is it not? It's a totally different video. But the thing is that, say Chris Algieri beats Pacquiao, and we're looking a little bit ahead, but I mean, it's possible. You know, it's boxing, anything is possible. I don't think he will, but let's just say Algieri beats Pacquiao. I mean, and he then faces Danny Swift Garcia. I mean, this is an interesting matchup right here, and it's a potential fight which could get made. I mean, maybe Danny Swift Garcia's thought to himself, you know, I don't want to move up to 147. Because, I mean, the talk was for a long time, Danny Garcia 147, Danny Garcia 147. And then all of a sudden, right, it's like, I'm staying at 140. And, you know, you're not hearing anything about Danny Garcia moving to 147, because the truth is, at 140, Danny Garcia's a killer. At 147, he's a contender. You know? And, I mean, you look at Danny Garcia when he faced Rod Salka, and you look at how much of an established one, and, you know, forget about what Rod Salka looked like, right? Forget him. I mean, you look at Danny Garcia, and you look at his legs, and you look at his body, and I don't know what it was, but when you look at his legs where his trainers were, right, and you just look at how firm his foot placement was, this is going to sound really weird, right, but if you look at his trainers, right, that he had on, them Nike trainers he had on, he looked like, if you just look at that little section of his leg there, he looked like, his legs weren't skinny. I mean, he's a big lad. You can see in his legs, he's got that weight, and he's got, like, his upper body's, like, quite wide. And he's a hefty puncher. He's a big puncher. And I mean, look, I know Rod Salka is a low-ranked fighter, 135 pounds. You know, not even ranked. You know, he's a really low ranked fighter at 135, not even at 140. But look, seriously, I mean, say you got Lucas Matisse in there, yeah, he'd probably do the job on him, on Rod Salka. You know, when I say the job on him, I mean he would have done what Danny Garcia did to him. But I mean, you take another fighter like Lamont Peterson or Adrian Bronner, could they have done to Rod Salka what Danny Garcia did? And this raises the question that Danny Garcia, he can bang hard, and at 140, does it make sense for him to move up to 147? I don't think so. I think it makes sense for this guy to keep reducing his weight and staying at 140. Now everyone said Danny Garcia is cherry picker, and I've called him out where he needs to be called out. But you know, that saga's ended, and he has faced good fighters, and you know, you have to say that Danny Garcia has always said in the past, look, I will face anyone, it's up to my management. Okay, look at the Amir Khan fight. He says that then. I don't pick him, I just fight him. Look at the Eric Morales fight, Kendall Holt fight. Look at the interviews going back a while. I mean, you know, so I don't really think about this until someone mentioned it, but someone said to me, look, he's always said this, that I don't pick my fights, I just fight, I'm the fighter. And yeah, you can criticise that that's, you know, not good on his behalf, but I mean, to call him a cherry picker himself for fighting Rod Salka, maybe he's just fighting the guy put in front of him. You know, maybe that's just the case. But the thing is that Danny Garcia undoubtedly is a killer in that ring, okay? And we look at the fight with Mauricio Herrera. When I interviewed Mauricio Herrera, he was very confident going in the fight. And he was confident coming out of the fight. When I interviewed him after the fight, he was very confident as well, then that he thought he took the fight and whatnot. But I mean, we look at like Danny Swift Garcia, and you know, there's rematches people want to see. People want to see the Amir Khan rematch. People want to see the Mauricio Herrera rematch, the Lucas Matisse rematch. 3 rematches people want to see. And I mean, Danny Swift Garcia, yeah, he struggled against Mauricio Herrera, but was he having an off night there? I mean, it was in Puerto Rico. It was pressure on him because he was the like heavy favourite to win. And you know, it was just a bit of an awkward style for Danny Garcia. Mauricio Herrera was good because Herrera could take a punch, we know that, and he's a crafty, slick fighter. And maybe he just made Danny Garcia look a little bit bad. I mean, all of a sudden, people now assuming that, look, any boxer that faces Danny Garcia, yeah, because people were saying this before the Mauricio Herrera fight. A lot of people were saying it, that, you know, Danny Garcia isn't anything special. And I was thinking that once upon a time, but like eventually, even I started believing in Danny Garcia when he got through Matisse, because I predicted Danny Garcia would win that fight against Matisse, and when he did, like, my stock, you know, my respect for him just went up after that fight. And then, you know, the Morales fight twice and the Khan fight. You know, I think people are looking into the Rod Salka fight too much. The casual fans are looking into the Rod Salka fight too much. But I mean, I'm not a casual fan, and I like to think if you guys watch this video, you guys aren't really casual fans. You know, you are clued onto your boxing. So like, we look at Danny Swift, and you look at the Rod Salka knockout, and it was a devastating knockout. It was a crazy knockout, and you got to think to yourself, how many people can do that at 140? So I'm waffling on a little bit here, but the point is, Chris Algieri, if he was to go up against Danny Swift Garcia, I mean, what makes you guys think that Danny Garcia wouldn't knock this guy out at 140? I mean, yeah, maybe Provodnikov couldn't do it, but the difference between Provodnikov and Danny Garcia is Danny Garcia just doesn't brawl. He's a very he technically knocks his opponent out. He doesn't just. If you look at the left hook that he knocked Rod Salka out with, the left hook that he knocked Morales out with, the left hooks that he knocked Amir Khan out with, they're very, very similar. Right? He punches like this. He moves his head this way. People think he's just throwing a blind shot. He's not. He's moving his head. So, one, he can get leverage into his punch. And secondly, he's not open for that counter straight on the chin there. Because he's rolling. Can you see that? Like, if you think about it, when you do the Philly shell, right? Okay, when Mayweather does the Philly shell, if punch comes this way, he rolls it this way because he rides with the punch. Mexican fighters, what they do is when the punch comes, they ride with the punch. You see Canelo rides with the punch, okay? Sometimes you got to ride with it, and I think that's what Danny Garcia does. He throws that left hook and he rides with the punch that's coming to him. So in Amir Khan's case, it was the uppercut. Danny Garcia rode that, right, because it went, and he, boom, landed that left hook. Similar thing with Rod Salka, similar thing with Eric Morales. I know Rod Salka is Rod Salka, but, you know, it is what it is. And I just think that if he fought someone like Chris Algieri, what makes you guys think that Algieri would be able to last against someone like Danny? Yeah, Provodnikov hits harder, but it's not always the harder puncher that gets the knockout. It's sometimes the punch. It's usually the punch you don't see coming that can knock you out. That's what happens in boxing anyway. And you know, it just got me thinking about this fight. You know, with Bob Arum said these statements, it really making me think like, wow, that would be a good fight. And like, is Chris Algieri the next boxing? You know, the next big thing in boxing, like the next boxing. When I say, what's the word I'm looking for? The next white boxing hope. Is he that guy? I don't know. He could be. You never know. I mean, when he faces Pacquiao, we'll find out. I mean, if he outboxes Pacquiao, he's good. He's very good. And it's like this, like Danny Garcia. We know that if a very superb boxer comes up to him, like Amir Khan was boxing the crap out of him, you know, and we know that he can get outboxed, but you have to last at 12, you know. So let me know what you guys think. If Chris Algieri wins this fight against Manny Pacquiao, what do you guys think would happen if Chris Algieri jumped in the ring with Danny Swift Garcia? Because it's a possible fight in the future. And what do you guys think? Do you think Danny Garcia will knock him out? I think he'd knock him out, to be honest with you. I really do think he would knock him out. Even though Ruslan Provodnikov didn't. I do think Danny Swift can knock out Chris Algieri, and I think that he's underrated right now because he had a really, really exceptionally disgraceful fight in his last fight against Rod Talca. I mean, that was a disgrace. But let me know what you guys think. Leave a comment section below. Subscribe as always. Follow me on Twitter, @Shaman_you. Been a bit.